Alrighty folks, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Appreciate y'all stopping in, watching this video. But hey, let's talk about getting a 5.7 into the 9s and what you got to do it. Right after this intro. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's get right into it. First thing I'm going to talk about is the must-haves. This is what you must have to make your 5.7 get into the 9s. And then we'll go into some more of the niceties to have, which also help to get you into those 9s. But the niceties are not mandatory, but they're going to help you. They're going to help you get there. First and foremost, a tuner. You're going to have to find a tuner that knows what they're doing, has worked with Hemis before, and has a lot of experience with working with Hemis before, and really working not only with the Hemis, but also working with the 8 HP transmissions. They got to have a really good understanding of the inner workings of the Hemi. They really do. Tuners say they can tune anything. Ford tuners can do Chevys and Ford tuners can do Dodges. Well, while that is true, and some are capable of doing it extremely well, most tuners you find are going to be brand specific. So look for that tuner that knows what he's doing, or she, could be a she. And then tuning software. I believe you can do it with either Diablo or HP tuners. Those are the two major ones everyone uses on the Hemi platform. So I think you can do it with either. I prefer HP tuners when you're going this far and making this much power and, going big time boost. I just think your tuner is going to be more flexible with HP tuners than they are with Diablos. That's just my opinion. No facts to back that up. But that's it for tuning tuners. The next thing you're going to need is one of two things: 18 to 20 pounds of boost. However you get that, positive displacement, centrifugal, or turbos. You're going to need in that 18 to 20 pounds of boost range, or a metric butt ton of nitrous or both. So you could do both. I did it on blower only, but it would have definitely been much easier if I would have added some nitrous in there. So boost, nitrous, or a little bit of both. You're going to need one or the other. Transmission upgrade. You're going to need a transmission upgrade, whether you go out and you build your 70, switch to a 90, get a built 90, go to a turbo 400, go to one of the other transmissions, the Power Glide. There's lots of transmission options out there for you to use. But you're going to need a transmission that's going to be able to hold all of that power that you're going to need to put to the ground to get into the 9s. You're going to need a torque converter, and depending on which route you go will depend on how high of a stall you're going to need. My stall at that time was, I believe it was a 4,000 stall, but you can get away with a much less stall. And again, it depends really upon which boost route, nitrous route, or both you go on how big of a torque converter you're going to need. But you're going to need a new torque converter. Have to have the 309 LSD. Can't do it without it. And what that's going to help do is put the power to the ground. So now we're going to talk about putting power to the ground here. You're going to need a drag pack. You're going to need skinnies up front, and you're going to need some slicks or drag radials in the back. I did it on drag radials. You're going to need a drive shaft. Your stock drive shaft is just not going to be able to take it. So there's plenty of drive shaft options out there. Majority people in the Hemi world go to the drive shaft DSS, but there's plenty of drive shaft makers out there can make you a one-piece drive shaft for your car to be able to hold that power. Axles. This is debatable, but I think you definitely need an upgrade in axles. I don't think your stock 5.7 axles are going to handle that kind of power. So what I used was red eye axles, Hellcat red eye axles. So whether you go Hellcat red eye axles, Demon axles, drive shaft axles, get the 2000 horsepower axles, you're going to need an axle upgrade. And I'm going to say minor suspension upgrades. So I think you can get away with maybe doing the lower control arms, and you can keep the rest of the stuff. Some people may debate that with me, but I think you can get away with a majority of the stock suspension parts, maybe just a few, one or two, to stiffen up the rear just a tad, to make that happen. Maybe cradle lockouts. And going back to the diff, I highly suggest a diff brace to go along with the diff. And going back to the boost and nitrous, you're going to need the fueling to go along with that. Whether you go dual pump, triple pump, what have you. Now, the debate is going to be whether you can do it on 93 or not. I personally don't think so. I think you're going to have to go to E85, which is going to, again, put some taxing onto your fueling. Either double pump or triple pump setup, larger injectors, and everything E85 compliant. So all of that stuff is not cheap, right? Not cheap. Even if you go the hardcore nitrous route, right? It's all expensive. So be prepared. And also be prepared for things to break, because once you add this much power to your 5.7, there's a good chance things are going to start breaking. Now, I haven't said anything about the internals. There's been a couple of us that have done this on stock internals. I've done it, and Frostbite Ram from Mopar Motorsports, I don't think he's hit a 9, but he's ran several 10.0s, which is right there at a 9. Now, do I think you need to do your internals? I'm debating myself, right? So not all 5.7 stock internals are going to be able to handle the power needed to get you into the 9s. It's just a fact. Not all engines are built the same. Because you can take 5 different cars of the dyno off the showroom floor, and you're going to get probably 5 different dyno results. So gap in the rings, probably a good idea. Forging the bottom end is a really good idea. I'll put that in the middle between must-haves and niceties. I'll put really, really, really good idea. The really good idea is get some forged internals for your 5.7. That's just more safety than anything else. Could you do it on your stock bottom end? I'll say possibly, because there's no 100% guarantee your engine is going to hold up to what ours has held up to. Now, a few niceties is, all right, let's go all out suspension. Let's go all out on the wheel hop kits, right? That gets you everything. The cradle lockout, the lower upper control arms, upper trailing arms, toe arms, all of that suspension stuff, to really help you put the power to the ground, because that's what you're going to need to do. Now, I didn't mention intake manifold and the need to have. Maybe this belongs in that probably should do, but not necessarily have to do is intake manifold. So whether you go 6.1, 6.4, or an aftermarket intake manifold, you're probably going to, now I'm debating myself, right? It's probably a good idea to get an intake manifold. I like the 6.4, but the problem with the 6.4, it's plastic. And is it going to constantly hold that 18 to 20 pounds of boost? Mine did for as long as I ran it. But how long that plastic is going to hold on with that amount of boost is questionable. So probably 6.1 or aftermarket intake manifold is probably a good idea. And the last one is either an air to water or IC chiller or some type of intercooler that's going to really cool down those intake temps. Air to air, you can do it air to air, but it's gonna have to be a huge air to air intercooler to get to the temperatures that you can get with either air to water or the IC chiller or something along those lines. But something to cool down that intake temperature would be great. Another one a lot of people like to use is water meth. That's also an option to help cool down those air intake temps. And going back, I'm going back now. If you do the both method, boost and nitrous in itself is going to help you cool down those air intake temps too. But there's people that run nitrous and water meth. So there you go. Quick, down and dirty. Didn't want to make this a long video. I didn't want to go over all of the stuff that's on my car. I didn't want to get into specific manufacturers or anything like that. I just wanted to leave this general so you guys can make your own decisions, do your own research, and finding out what you feel is best to get your 5.7 in the 9s. But that's going to do it for this one, folks. Again, appreciate y'all stopping in. But if you are stopping in for the first time, please check out the rest of the channel. If you like what's going on with the rest of the channel, do me those few things. Like, subscribe, smash the bell, shoot me a comment, share it on your social media. I'll definitely appreciate it. Shake and Bake will definitely appreciate it, because every red penny from YouTube goes right back into Shake and Bake. That's it for this one, folks. Till next time, adios.